Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to go over the expressions review just because Miss McCall and I are out and we want to make sure you fully understand it. So in this video, we're going to go through the front and then the next video we'll go through the back, kind of explaining it. So number one, we have the order has changed. Notice that this is 27 plus 13 and this is 13 plus 27. So even though there's parentheses, the order is changing. So it is going to be C, commutative property of addition, because you're adding. Number two, we're multiplying it by 1 to get the same thing. So it's going to be identity property and it's going to be of multiplication because we're multiplying it by 1. Number three is the order changing. Parentheses means multiplication. So commutative property of multiplication. This one, the order stays the same. D plus E plus 8, D plus E plus 8, but the parentheses is changing. So that's got to be associative property of addition. The next one, number 5, we're adding 0. So identity property of addition still equals itself. So that's E. The next one, 2k times 5 times 3, and then 2k times 5 times 3. The order is staying the same. The parenthesis is changing. So associative property of multiplication. This next one, we are doing some multiplication. Maybe these parentheses will kind of help you a little bit. So you multiply it by both parts. So that's going to be G, distributive property. So for number 8, we don't have any tickets to hand out, so we don't have anything to distribute. So we're going to start by just training it up. Choo-choo. We're going to look at our like terms. So we have 4t squared and minus 9t squared. Then we have minus 5t. I'm going to check them off, make sure I've got them all. Minus 4. Yes, it does say plus minus 4, but I kind of like thinking of just the minus 4. And then plus 12. We're going to combine our like terms. So 4 minus 9 is going to get me negative 5t squared. This one doesn't have any like terms, so it's just minus 5t. Then these constants are going to combine, and it's negative 4 plus 12, so it just gives us plus 8. Again, if you put it in a different order, that's okay, but make sure the negative is in front of the 5t squared and the 5t. So this next one, we need to start by distributing to both parts. So we're going to do 4/5 times 2 over 1. Multiplies gets me 8/5, which is 1 3/5. Again, you totally could do this as a decimal. So I just did fractions, and that's okay. So 1 3/5 k. And then 3/5 times negative 7 is going to get me a negative. So 4/5 times 7 over 1. 28/5 goes in 5 times with 3/5 left over. So minus 5 3/5 plus 5k. Train it up. So 1 3/5 k plus 5k gets me 6 3/5 k minus 5 3/5. Remember, if you did this as a decimal, it should be 6 6/10 k minus 5 6/10. Again, if you switch the order and you had minus 5 3/5 plus 6 3/5 k, that would be acceptable as well. Just make sure that negative is with the 5 3/5. Number 10, we've got to start by training it up and combining our like terms. So we have our squareds. So negative 3 9/800 y squared, check. Minus 8 5/10 y squared, check. Plus 16, that would be an 11, and 6/100 y plus 5.2 y minus 99/100 y. Check, check, I got all my terms. So the squareds are going to be combined. I'm going to do this down to the side. So 3.98, same signs, add and keep, plus 8.5. And 48/100ths, y squared. So for these next ones, I'm going to do the two positives and then I'm going to subtract the 90/100ths. So 11 and 6/100ths plus 5 and 2/100ths. And then I'm going to got the 16 and 26/100ths. I'm going to subtract the 99/100ths. You got to borrow. That's 11, 16, 7, 2, 5, 1. So then we end up with plus 15 and 27/100ths y. So in number 11, we've got to distribute. So we've got negative v times negative v, which remember v times v is going to give us v squared. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is going to give us positive 1. So we get v squared. And then negative v times positive 10 gives me negative 10v. V squared and v cannot be combined, so those are not like terms.